Welcome to our series, Leading Voices.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm a senior customer success director, and in my role, I work with many fast growing startups and scale ups to help them deliver an amazing customer experience. I'm really excited to be joined today by Aliyah Shah, the Chief of Staff at JustFab. We're going to talk about her journey in CX, the lessons she's learned along the way, and the takeaways that can inspire others who are building their own careers in this space. All right, let's get into it. Tell us more about yourself and your role at JustFab.
So hi everyone, my name is Aliyah Shah. I'm the Chief of Staff at JustFab. I've been here roughly 1 year as of, this week. I wear many hats. So as the company goes through many changes, I'm helping up set up our shared service platforms here, most notably in customer service, logistics and supply chain, as well as, supporting my CEO and anything she really needs. Before that, I was the director of ops at FabFitFun. I was there for roughly 5 years and managed the operations end to end for the company. And yeah, I'm really excited to be here and to chat with Sam.
We're excited to have you. So I think every story is best started at the beginning. Tell us about your first job.
My first job was when I was 16 years old, and I was working retail at PacSun in Laguna Hills Mall. And then I continued to have a job since then. So I've been working since I was 16. But my first corporate job was straight out of college. I did litigation accounting for CBIZ MHM, which is a company located in LA. And I was there for roughly 2 years before I moved on to do finance accounting for another 5 years after that.
That's amazing. I feel like every girl's first job is in retail. Mine was Forever 21, also at a mall. So I feel like that's such a rite of passage to do that, especially as a teen. In your career, what is one word that you would use to describe your leadership style? So whether that was when you were 16 starting out or just as you've evolved into your current role.
I would say it's adaptive. So I think you have to adjust your approach based on the situation that you're presented with as a leader and the people that you're working with, and how to balance making decisions quickly with the empathy for your team and to create conditions where your team can thrive. And I think that really happens with being adaptive.
Definitely. I feel like, especially in the startup space, you just have to be willing to roll with it. So I definitely can see how that's very impactful as a leadership style. When it comes to customer service, everybody has different stories for how they got into it and how they've landed to where they are today. So, how did you get into customer service?
So I think I just somehow fell into this role. When I was at FabFitFun, we took over the dropship program. And after doing the dropship program and scaling that program like a twofold within 2 years, we had a certain number of agents report into my team. So that was, roughly 15 agents in the Philippines who started reporting into me, specifically around dropship. And then I eventually had a CX ops person in my team. So then started really diving more into like customer service, what that means, where is the intersection with operations, since I was so heavy operations. And then more so at Just Fab, I have helped set up their customer service function as part of a shared service that we were moving away from. But now setting it up here, it's really owning the process end to end that comes with, hiring the agents and the BPO team, and then implementing all of our tech tools and seeing like where we can have efficiencies in our profile for customer service.
Hmm. What was a moment or a challenge that shaped your leadership?
So I think it's been different things over the course of my career, but more recently, as we go through changes, it's, leading transition of like multiple warehouse cutovers alongside multiple site migrations, and having to really see and understand how to work with that change and navigate with clarity and resilience under pressure when things are kind of out of your control, whether that comes from something happening in the government and compliance and or tariffs, and then really how to make fast information with maybe incomplete information. And through that, keeping all your leadership and cross functional team aligned, because with clear communication builds trust. So even if you have incomplete information, making sure that you can maintain flexibility and build trust with your team in the right way.
No, definitely. I feel like, especially in your role, you're wearing a million hats. And so I feel like that obviously lends itself to the type of leader you are and the way you're operating within your organization. So to kind of segue, I know that this is something that you worked a little bit more closely with in FabFitFun, but it's obviously always relevant and top of mind for everybody. But the tech and AI space, I think right now we don't see a ton of examples of leadership and women in leadership for the AI and tech space. And that's definitely something that we're trying to combat and try to find examples of people who are working in that space and kind of becoming the forefront of what that looks like. So how can women shape the future of CX tech? What are some of the things that women bring to the table that might differ from the current standpoint right now?
No, absolutely. So I think women bring something really interesting to the table in terms of CX tech. I think they bring a really customer first lens that's like critical to building AI and CX tools. And I think it sometimes leads more with inclusivity, practicality, and empathy. And I think by being at the table in product design, implementation, data governance, women can ensure that these technologies solve real world problems, and then they can be really diverse in the perspectives they do reflect when they are able to bring in CX tech and launch that off the ground. So it's not just about the technical efficiency that women can bring to the table, but it's about reflecting the diverse perspectives that maybe sometimes people aren't thinking about from the onset.
hmm Totally. I feel like women obviously bring a fresh perspective to conversations. And I think it's definitely an opportunity for more of a creative standpoint and a creative approach to these tech and AI issues and solutions. So, when it comes to paying it forward, I think it's something that we all always have top of mind for kind of next gen women entering the workforce. So, what is some advice that you would give to help women advocate for themselves in the workplace, whether it's negotiation, going for a promotion, tough situations, or building confidence? What is some advice that you would give to a woman who's kind of coming up in their career?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say get comfortable really quantifying your impact. So tie your contributions to metrics, whether that's revenue, cost savings, any type of efficiency you did bring to the table. So it's clear how you moved a business, a function, a department forward, and don't ask for permission all the time. Speak up for opportunities, ask for clarity on a promotion path that you want, and really have a high tolerance for self advocacy and practice that as a skill. And even if maybe you're not comfortable speaking up for yourself as usual, but get comfortable with doing that because not everyone will vouch for you. So you have to be able to vouch for yourself.
hmm And I feel like that's great advice. And I feel like the first time's always the hardest. So I think too, the more practice you have advocating for yourself, the easier it gets. So I really appreciate that advice. I think that's something that's going to be really pertinent to a lot of people, women and men in the workplace. And so thank you so much for your time today. Thank you so much for your impact in this conversation. It's something we're really trying to focus on it. And I appreciate your participation today, Alia.
Thank you for having me.